John Coleman is a meteorologist and co-founder of the Weather Channel. So obviously he knows a lot about weather, right? And he obviously knows a lot about climate change, right? Well, perhaps not. You see, his recent appearance on the Kelly File shows that he's not exactly buying the science of climate change. Let's take a look.
John Coleman is the co-founder of the Weather Channel, winner of the American Meteorological, that's a tough one, Meteorological Society's Award for Broadcast Meteorologist of the Year, and he has spent more than 60 years reporting on the weather. John, good to see you tonight. And so upset were you by the claims of man-made global warming that you wrote a letter to the UCLA's Hammer Museum for their forum that was called Tackling Climate Change. And you said you don't have both sides represented, and I'm here to tell you that man-made global climate change is a myth. How can you say that?
Well, it's very difficult for anybody to be against it because the media has told the nation over and over again, day after day, for 20 years, that the oceans are rising, the polar bears are dying, the sea, the ice is melting, that storms are going to sweep the earth, and that we're all going to die of a heat wave. I mean, this is an incredible bad science.
What's your data to the contrary? But what's your data to the contrary? And soon the Weather Channel will be canceled altogether. They will push it out of existence since you've taken this position. But let's get specific, because you talk about how the efforts to prove the theory that carbon dioxide is a significant greenhouse gas and that it's causing significant warming have failed, and yet the data say that carbon dioxide was proven to be a greenhouse gas in the 1957 paper by Roger Revelle. The EPA says it's a greenhouse gas. The scientific community has accepted that it's a greenhouse gas, and that the amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere has gone up since 1958.
Well, there are 9,000 PhDs and 31 scientists who have signed a petition that says it is not a significant greenhouse gas. Oh, it's a teeny, itsy-bitsy greenhouse gas, but it's not in any way significant, and we are sure of it. It's not like something I've made up or just thought of. I've studied and studied and studied. And Roger Revelle, the great scientist who wrote that paper back in 1957 with Hans Suess, changed his mind a decade later and said, wait a minute, I think we were wrong. Don't anybody panic. I don't think there's any global warming. And that's when Al Gore said he was senile.
Al Gore, okay. Al Gore said he was senile.
Now,
okay, so speaking of Al Gore, let's remind the audience of what Al Gore said.
Roger Revelle taught it. Well, I would like to announce tonight to people who are friends of Al Gore's that, whoops, he got that one wrong. The Antarctic ice cap is at an all-time record high in both coverage and thickness, and the Arctic ice cap at the North Pole is at the highest it has been in several years. It's in its so-called normal range since we got satellite observations that could measure it. So not only is the ice not melting, more polar bears are alive and happy today than we've had in 100 years. Life is good, Miss Kelly, I got to tell you, life is good.
Life is good.
Okay, so a lot of people are going to say founder of the Weather Channel, it's over. He said it, therefore it is true. But I just want to point out three things. One, he said 9,000 PhDs and 31 scientists. So he kind of fucked up that talking point. I would have just left it at 9,000 PhDs. Sounds more impressive. Number two, his last name is not what you call it, Spritzer or Storms or anything weather related. It's Coleman, aka Coleman. Think about it. He doesn't even have a real weatherman's name, so you can't trust him. He has a Coleman's name because he's in favor of coal. I've solved this. The Weather Channel is evil, and who even watches the Weather Channel anymore? You get weather on your phone.
Okay, so let me push back on the Weather Channel thing a little bit later, but I just have to point out how funny it is that he's like, that both Megyn Kelly and him are like, Al Gore, gotcha. Oh, like that's like bait to them. It's like, oh, but see, what about Al Gore? What about Al Gore? Guys, he was wrong. Like, Al Gore is as much of a climate scientist as this guy is, or as Megyn Kelly is, right? He's a meteorologist. His expertise isn't even on climate, but on weather. It's not the same thing.
Jeff, I'm just so glad Megyn Kelly was finally able to drop an elbow on Al Gore. I'm just thrilled. She finally got the elbow from the sky and dropped it. And this isn't showing the signs of climate change, guys. This is showing the signs of the rapture. Can we get it right? Can we just get what we're seeing right? It's the signs of the rapture, not climate change. And there you go. That's how silly I see this topic right now with them and how they discuss it. So I'm gonna take it down to their stupidity level.
Actually, if you really want to take it down to their level, notice how and I've edited this video. Okay, so it was actually a couple minutes longer, more than a couple times. It did that across the desk shot where Megyn Kelly's got a clear desk, so clearly it's to show off her legs with that special camera shot coming in. And they did that several times. So if you want to bring it down to that level, you have to point that out. Like, clearly, whatever she was saying was not interesting enough for the audience. They had to show her legs.
Maybe we should start doing that. Like, I'll just sit here in, like, a mini skirt, and, like, every time something boring comes on, we just, whoop, there's my legs. Swoop, there's my legs.
There you go. There you go. That'll get our page numbers up and everything. I could be like the Scarecrow. You could show the legs, and we'll even it out.
I just want to point out to everybody who's listening and may listen in the future, climate and weather are two completely different things. Okay, like they're different things. Like, weather is what's going on right now. Climate is the overall. Like, we don't say like, oh, there's a climate of snow in the Amazon rainforest. Like, that's not the climate. It could be the weather at the time, but the climate is not snow.
It's almost saying like it was cold outside yesterday, therefore the climate is not warming.
But it was cold outside today.
Damn it.
I do have a couple points. One, everybody hates Al Gore, so I understand why they want to make fun of him. I mean, I think
like Al Gore. I must be the lone wolf here, Sean. I like Al Gore.
You're wrong. So everybody hates Al Gore. He has a stupid face, and I understand why they show him and they poke fun at him. And to be fair, this guy founded the Weather Channel. Al Gore founded Current, which he sold to Al Jazeera, which obviously has implicit connections because their name is Al Gore, Al Jazeera. Think about it. But in all seriousness, he did sell it to a channel that is funded by oil money. So I don't like Al Gore. I think personally he's selling you solutions that aren't great with a real problem. The weatherman Coleman is selling you non-true things, huh?
Bullshit? Is that that's what he's
but I'm saying he's selling you a lie. Al Gore's selling you a lie after he tells you the truth, in my opinion, because I think Al Gore is pushing bad solutions.
Here's my thing for the climate deniers out there. What's the harm? I mean, forget the cap and trade and all that argument. But what's the harm of just, like, doing something to improve the environment? Even if you don't believe in it, okay? Just let's remove that argument from you. Don't believe it. Okay, cool. You don't believe in it. What is the harm of actually doing something to prevent further damage that you may not necessarily believe in, but it might better people's lives? Can somebody, like...
But if you don't believe in it, then you don't believe that it will improve people's lives. Like,
I'll do you one. No. I'll do you one. Because it seems to me that a lot of the deniers are the same people who believe the Earth was only 6,000 years old. Okay, if you believe that the Earth was made just for us humans, why are you messing it up? Why are you ruining it? Why can't you just make sure that the life goes on and continues? If you think the Earth is only 6,000 years old, and we know there's not another planet that we can inhabit within traveling distance, it's not like we could just, like, shoot a rocket to Mars and go live there tomorrow if we had to. We need to stop messing with this planet. We need to go ahead and protect it because, hey, you're the ones who believe it's only 6,000 years old. And if it's only 6,000 years old, we've really fucked it up in 6,000 years.
All right, well, here's something serious. Now, you guys said something about the how, the Weather Channel is evil, I believe you said, Sean. Here's the Weather Channel statement on this. Quote, More than a century's worth of detailed climate observation shows a sharp increase in both carbon dioxide and temperatures. These observations, together with computer model simulations and historical climate reconstructions from ice cores, ocean sediments, and tree rings, all provide strong evidence that the majority of the warming over the past century is a result of human activities. This is also the conclusion drawn nearly unanimously by climate scientists. So the Weather Channel saying, no, you're wrong, without actually addressing Mr. Coleman by saying, no, climate change is real. We do have evidence of this. Just ignore the other guy. And look, this guy, to kind of wrap this whole thing up with the credentials of this guy, he's a weatherman. A weatherman. And he's somebody that, to his credit, pioneered some of the current techniques used by weather forecasters, such as using on-screen satellite technology, computer graphics, in weather. So as far as being a successful in the technical areas of forecasting weather, great, smart guy. But when it comes to the actual science, it doesn't take a scientist to point at a screen and say, it's going to be 86 in Memphis today.